Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Rob Motive JT. Today, Randall's over here with some lighting stuff we're going to put on his Jeep Gladiator Mojave. If you haven't watched the channel much, you know, we kind of dig lights over here. So what Randall's going to do, he's going to put some reverse lights back here to brighten it up a bit when you're backing up, and some running lights back here on the back fenders. So here's Randall. We'll let him tell you real quick what he is planning to put on here.
It's pretty simple. I was looking for backup lights. I was in Walmart. Bad mistake. But anyway, I was there. And I found the backup lights that also have a blinker system on them. And they're wired so that they're separate. So what I'm going to have is a set of reverse lights, but it's also going to put an auxiliary blinker down low. Working under the assumption that people are on their phones, anything to get their attention is probably a better.
Absolutely, yeah.
The other thing, these do a fair job of lighting up. I want more reverse light. So that's where this is all coming from. In the front, I run all of the lights across the front grille.
There you go.
Okay, so there's 15 lights across the front of that thing. Those are running lights. If the motor's running, they're on. But sometimes I'm running these, but I'm not running any running lights in the back. I want a running light back there. Just a real simple little marker light, which is what the front ones are. Drill a hole here for the cable, put 2 holes on either side, run the little screws through there, and put them down here on both sides. This is hollow, so that's not going to be any problem to get to. On the rear bumper lights, I decided to go the other route. This is a clamp, little clamp to that bumper, which will let me then not have to drill holes. Drilling through that is going to let rust in that otherwise couldn't get there. So I'm going to use just some little clamps, but because they're going to be back under here underneath the edge, and then the light's going to be in front of them, you're really not going to be able to see them. That is the goal today.
All right, that's the plan. We're going to roll up our sleeves, get a couple Band-Aids, you know, for me anyway, and get going. First off, going to put the little clamping holder underneath the edge or the lip of the bumper. And that's just held in by a couple screws, of course. And then it's adjustable for the direction of the light once that you get it on. Because the bumper itself, as you can see, is angled or does slope. So you want to be able to adjust it here, and it can do that. Okay, we've got the light mounted down here. Again, this was the bracket that just kind of sandwiches the bumper. And then the various bolts and things, obviously, that hold the light on. You can swivel it up, down, sideways, crossways, whatever you want. Next up, we're going to go ahead and put the side light on, I guess, over here on the running light, which means we're going to have to do a little drilling. Okay, time for a little measurement for placement of the side running lights. Obviously, you want to try to get these even. If you care about that. Me, I care about that. So I did make a little bit of a template to try to line it up.
And to be honest, I'm less crazy about it. If it's not exactly level, there's a lot of different levels back here. If you try to go level with this, you're like this. If you try to go level with gravity, you're more like this.
Right.
So you just, choose something, choose a happy medium.
I think this is one of those personal preference moments.
And I think I'm going to kind of shoot to be level. Just for consistency, I'll be able to stay if I go level with this thing down here. Okay, one thing, I thought it would be so clever to go ahead and attach the pigtail to the light to make it, so instead of trying to do it from underneath the truck. Unfortunately, it didn't occur to me till after it was done that it takes a lot smaller hole for 2 wires together than it does for that. So right here, there are going to have to be 2 holes side by side to fit this through.
But the question begs, why wouldn't you just cut it off and do it over again?
Yeah, no. That's outstanding.
Okay, there you go. That's what it looks like mounted anyway. Of course, the wiring will be up underneath, run to the front. Now, we just have to do the other sides and then tackle the wiring, and then there shall be light. Okay, moving on to the other side. Randall had a good point, and that is to show how these go on, because it's not quite as simple as just slipping it on. The thickness of the bumper is marginally more than the slot that we're going to put on. So you have to grab your persuasion tool and kind of hammer it a little bit on there. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Another little tip that we discovered, when you put this on and bolt it down, it wants to spin. So you need something, a friction point, to stop that from happening. So we decided to try and use some double-sided tape on the edges of where the bolt is going to go through. Of course, the nut will be on the other underside. And that's to kind of tighten everything together so it doesn't spin. Now, what we're using, again, is just a simple double-sided tape, about inch or so long strips. And another little tip for you, keep it away from the hole, because, of course, the threads from the bolt want to grab the tape and it makes a mess, and we actually ended up using another bolt because we just didn't want to screw with it. So I would just put it on the edges like so, and then when you put it behind on the bracket that we're going to bolt it to, it does definitely help lock everything in so that this light does not spin freely, or fairly freely, underneath. Trying to figure out the proper right turn signal wire, Randall tried to find it in the hitch underneath, and apparently there must be a relay or something, because there is no flashing right turn signal. There was a flashing left turn signal. So he's decided he's going to run the wiring for the reverse lights back here and the turn signals into the taillights, or the taillight wiring directly. Have a look, the rears are on. You can see the four ways going, and let me tell you, in person, this is blinding. If somebody says they didn't see you signal, then they're lying to you, because they are quite blinding. There is your left flasher, there's your right flasher. Notice the left one, now we've got some pretty, wow, we've got some pretty bright reverse lights on. I think they're gonna work quite well. Wow. Okay, after hours and hours and hours of wiring, there are lights, running lights on both sides. Of course, that wire will be tucked up under. And let's go over here. And there's the one over on this side. So we have lots of nice and shiny lights added to Randall's Jeep Gladiator Mojave. Real quick, one thing we wanted to mention, speaking of tires, the measurement on them, he's got 43,000 miles on these tires, and measuring them with the gauge, it's running about 10 or 11, 30 seconds. Started off at 17. So just to give you an idea of how these wear, they are the Falcon Wild Peaks, by the way.
The other thing, if anybody else has a problem finding the little up and down buttons on the windshield windows.
Oh yeah, Randall's been busy inside. If you take a look in here, he's got some orange covers over the window up and down buttons, if you will, as well as some other orange accents on the controls there. But that's a good way to be able to see, because sometimes it's pretty difficult to locate those while you're driving around. Now you have no problem. Okay, that is the install of some added reverse lights as well as running lights on the side of the Jeep Gladiator. Not a bad project, a little time consuming when it comes to the wiring and the connections and all of that, but that's pretty normal. I think it looks pretty cool. I think they came out pretty well. Randall?
Oh yeah.
What do you think?
I play for the lowest common denominator. I want as much light front and back as I have. Some people said I've gone a little over the top on the front lights. I felt I needed to bring the back up to be level.
Gotcha.
Level it out.
Level it out. Anyway, that's it. Leave a comment. Let us know what you think. Too much, or you can never have too much? I'd be curious to know. Also, real quick, I do have 2 additional channels. Mod Driven, all about the Honda Civic, 6-speed manual transmission, and Rob Motive, all about the Toyota Tacoma. Check them out, and if you're interested, why not subscribe? And while you're at it, smash the subscribe button here too. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.